Hello there. We've had an enthralling start to the season, and on Match of the Day this week, we've got 6 more terrific games for you, full of incident, near misses, great saves and lots of goals. Plenty then for Alan Shearer and Mark Lawrenson to wag their chins at. We start with last season's 2 most successful clubs outside the so-called Big Four. Everton, who finished 5th, and FA Cup winners Portsmouth. The commentator at Goodison Park was Guy Mowbray.
The fixture computer was far from kind to Portsmouth. After Chelsea and Manchester United, it's a trip to the next best outside the Big Four last season, with Pompey still looking for their first point and goal of the new campaign. Everton's young side got going last week with a win at West Brom, and there's only one change to the team today. 16-year-old Jose Baxter replaced by James Vaughan, who at 20 is now a relative veteran. For Portsmouth, it's the same team that ran Manchester United close on Monday, with Jermaine Defoe having got over an illness that caused him to miss training this week. Now he's looking to get over an 8-game goal drought going back to last season. Comes Vaughan, beaten by Kabul. Rodwell, trying to dispossess Diarra. Uses his pace to burst into a decent position out wide on the left. Couldn't quite hook his foot around to get the right cross delivered. Promising though. Everything remotely half-decent that he does is met by generous applause from the Everton supporters. He's one of them. From nearby Birkdale. He's in the reserves at 15. In the under-18s at 14. Rapid rise, only turned 17 in March. Stand with the Pompey throw. Looking to get on the end of it. Pops it on to Defoe. Well won by Crouch. Defoe arm to arm with Lescott, and he squeezed it home. That's a superb goal from Jermaine Defoe. Portsmouth's first strike of the new season. Well, credit to Crouch for getting there ahead of Yobo. There's nothing on for Defoe at all here. Couple of neat dragbacks, then just the smallest area to aim for. But he found the corner past Tim Howard. Striker's finish. Ball plays it inside, but only to Bouba Diop, and then plays a terrific ball wide to Johnson. Crouch wants it. Arm's been in the air for a good 5 seconds. What a cross from Johnson. Crouch down, but not close enough to Defoe. Followed up by Traore. It's Defoe again! What a good save by Howard. Many an Everton fan thought that had crept into the corner again. Well, you wouldn't believe Jermaine Defoe had been feeling under the weather, laid low by a virus all week. Look how sharp he is here. Turn and fire. Rodwell. Baines. Crouch in front of him. Managed to see through the tall figure though to find Yakubu. Good cross! Super save! Arteta again! James again! Well, Everton fans were ready to celebrate twice. Great work from Yakubu. The cross was special. Arteta thought he'd scored. Couldn't quite get a hold of the rebound. And look how quickly 38-year-old David James reacted. Jagielka, great pass for Phil Neville. 2 in blue in the penalty area. Arteta still can't cross. Baines. James comes for it. Nodded back across for Yakubu. What a challenge by Kabul. I think that's a goal saver. Superb ball in from Leighton Baines. James was struggling, and Kabul gets his boot to it just as Yakubu was about to pounce. What a clearance. Davis. Johnson. by Baines first time. Second time he does find Defoe. Johnson's on for the return. Glenn Johnson! 2-0 Portsmouth. Well worked, clinically finished. Are Everton down and out on home turf again? Great play. Johnson twice looked for Defoe. The ball back into Johnson's path was perfectly weighted. It's only Glenn Johnson's second goal for Pompey. Second goal of the season for them, second goal of the afternoon. It's a long way back for Everton from here. Through for Jagielka, neatly flicked to Osman. Jagielka is blocked by Campbell, they appeal for handball. Vaughan. Baines. Osman challenging. Not likely to beat the heavyweight duo of Kaboul and Campbell. It was a confident shout as it struck Sol Campbell. Well, Kelsey was close enough to get a decent view. Jagielka's strike. And it came off the knee onto the arm. Can't give those. It's a very still, muggy day on Merseyside. Not a breath of wind. Neville. Up goes Kaboul. Everton fans saw that as a push, and it's a penalty. Off the ball. James Vaughan sent tumbling. It was a great roar from the Gladys Street end. Johnson looked to block off the run of James Vaughan, and it was spotted by Mark Halsey. As Kaboul headed behind, unchallenged for what he thought was a corner, instead an Everton penalty, and a way back into the game. It's the former Portsmouth striker Yakubu, who scored 2 goals in 2 games to start this season. And Yakubu is denied by James. Well, he was very deliberate about the penalty. Didn't look all that confident as he stuttered towards the ball. And James, brilliant afternoon, is getting better. Arteta. Neville. Pulled back. It wasn't on for Phil Jagielka to reach it. Defoe. And this would be a kick in the teeth for Everton, a Portsmouth breakaway goal. It's Sean Davis. It's back to Jermaine Defoe. Oh, that's a terrific effort. And Peter Crouch is following up to score. Did it cross the line already? Well, Crouch will desperately try to claim it for himself. All over as far as Everton are concerned now. Jermaine Defoe with a touch of magic. Backheeled by Davis, and look at that. I think Howard got a hand on it. That's quite wonderful from Defoe. Getting himself ready to take on Sean Davis's back heel. Peter Crouch was adamant that this is his goal. You can see it is in already. But look at the assistant, the flag stays down until Crouch pops it in. Let the argument begin. Jagielka. Here's Neville. Yakubu! Well, James is determined that nothing shall pass today. He already holds the record for the number of Premier League clean sheets, 160. He's in such good form. Arteta. That's Lescott trying to hook it goalwards. Well, it's the sort of effort that was flying in for him last season when he helped himself to 10 goals from defence. But it is that sort of day for Everton.
We took our goals well today, and we changed the system. We worked hard on it all week, how we were going to play, and obviously when you change the system, players sometimes a little bit wary about it and not sure, but it couldn't have gone better, so they should be full of confidence playing that way.
We didn't play that badly. We defended badly, but no, we didn't. I don't think we deserved to lose 3-0, but you know, credit Portsmouth. They defended well when they had to, and they took their chances when they got them.
Peter, there's one big talking point at the end of that. The third goal, you're not letting this be taken away from you, are you?
No, of course not. I'm a forward. Jermaine's the same, I suppose. But yeah, I've just looked at the line. I've seen it again. Looked at the linesman, obviously, and he hasn't given it. So I'd have said we would have played on, you know, if I hadn't put it in. So obviously I've got to claim it. But fantastic bit of skill from Jermaine. He's probably deserved it, but of course I'm going to claim it.
I spoke to Karachi in the change room. A few of the lads were giving a little bit of banter saying it was mine, and he said to me, Jay, give it to me. But no, it doesn't matter, to be honest, who gets the goals. It's always nice to score, obviously. I got to go in the first half, but nah, it's not much I can say, really. Got 3 points, that's the most important thing.
Doesn't matter who scores the goals.
Yes, it does.
Of course it does, always has to.
It does if you're a
Good
centre
game.
forward.
Probably slightly flattering result for Portsmouth, but both sides played well, and obviously Portsmouth in particular.
Both sides played their part in a very, very, very good game of football. Everton had the chances, but for two magnificent saves from David James, one being a penalty. But I have to agree with David Moyes. Defensively, Everton were so poor, but Portsmouth, the stars of the show today were Crouch, and in particular Jermaine Defoe.
The little and large combinations looking good for
Very
them.
impressed with them. Didn't get a kick in their first 2 or 3 games, and people have been waiting for them to click. Can't believe Jack Rodwell there doesn't get in front of Crouch from the long throw. Should do. He doesn't, and he flicks it on. Defoe does what he does best. He's in the box. But just look at the defending here. 1, 2, 3, 4 around him. You'd think there's no way he can get a shot in there. But Jermaine, being a box player as he is, sharp, quick feet. And this is again, look, if you get at the back stick, I'll get in. Watch his movement here, a little sprint. He expects Crouch to win that, which he does. All right, he doesn't get it the first time. But I tell you what, it's not over yet. It's still in the box, and I'll come alive in the box, which he does so well. It's a great save from Tim Howard. Yes, he's a box player, but he can also play his part in linking up play as well as he does there with
Strikers
Glenn Johnson. Very good. But this is the best part for me. Great piece of skill, great back heel from Sean Davis. But what I want to show you here is the comparison to how the defenders react and how forwards react. Yes, Jermaine's done brilliant to flick it over him, but just watch the reaction of the defenders. They're both attracted to the ball. Where's Peter Crouch going? He's going for the rebounds. Do they come? Yes, it does come. But that ball is over the line. But look at the assistant. The ball is still in play. He hasn't flagged, so it's not a goal. You've got to carry on. Peter Crouch gets his reward for following in, gets his goal. They both deserved it.
It's not really a question for the dubious goals committee, is it? Because they've either given the goals, the official, or they haven't given
Well, the assistant didn't flag, so the ball is still in play.
Yeah.
So it can't be a goal. So Peter Crouch, it's still in play. Peter Crouch knocks it in. It's his goal. He deserved the goal.
Yeah.
But both of them are going to be a threat for teams this season.
Certainly. Early days, Mark, but can you see a difference in Everton this season?
Well, I mean,
less formidable?
Yeah, I think less formidable. I think one thing they've always been at home is very difficult to beat. I thought they let and gave Portsmouth too much room today. But he started to bring in reinforcement, David Moyes. I mean, they'll be absolutely fine, but in terms of pushing on, for 5th again, I think it's a tall order that this year.
OK, but a very long way to go. Next, it's Hull versus Wigan, which would be one hell of a rugby league encounter. As it turned out, it made a fascinating Barclays Premier League fixture, watched at the KC Stadium by Roger Johnson.
Caleb Boland, who scored a fairy tale winner for Hull on the opening day here, replaces Loney Marlon King, who's ineligible to face his parent club. While Wigan, thus far pointless but full of promise, have Chris Kirkland fit to return in goal. Catamol for Wigan. Runs into trouble and Folan will leave it. And here's Giovanni looking to profit down the flank. Little ball laid in, shot fizzed wide by Craig Fagan. Giovanni just laid it on a plate and Fagan couldn't quite find the direction. Nicely laid off by Zaki for Valencia. Now he goes for the return, the Egyptian, looking to stride to the byline. Good covering challenge from Wayne Brown, first corner of the game. Kevin Kilbane will swing in Wigan's opening corner. Oh, it's a sneaky one and it's gone in! A howler for the whole defence. I'm not sure that Kilbane intended that, but inside 5 minutes, Wigan have a freak opening goal. Kilbane certainly angled it in low and hard to the near post. It definitely flicked off Sam Ricketts. It could even have been an own goal. But whichever way you look at it, it's a body blow to Hull City early in the game here. Wigan ahead, 1-0. Phil Brown's new moustache is in aid of testicular cancer, with which his reserve goalkeeper Matt Duke was diagnosed earlier this year. And he'll be scratching his moustache as his side find themselves behind very early here. Heskey is the target, gets a flick, Zaki over the bar. Amir Zaki is already getting a reputation as a sharpshooter in front of goal. He scored 2 already this season, 1 in the Premier League, 1 midweek in the Carling Cup. Couldn't quite get that one on target. Myhill lifts one high up towards the edge of the penalty area. It's flicked on. Folan does well to keep it in and get it across, and it almost worked for Giovanni. Came off the defender according to referee Mike Jones, and Giovanni was just a whisker away there. Hull's first corner of the game. Tapped in short. Ricketts lays it back. Folan is waiting, and so is Giovanni. Wigan can't quite clear, and now they will. Zaki lifting it away, and a good turn of speed here by Valencia. He's through. Can he finish against Myhill? It's a wonderful breakaway goal. Antonio Valencia with a clean pair of heels. Hull find themselves 2 behind inside a quarter hour through the keeper's legs. Steve Bruce still calling for more commitment, but his side already are in a clear winning position here. Hoisted for Heskey. Well played at the back. Good header down by Michael Turner. Now Marnie. Folan's ball laid off to Giovanni. It wasn't quite the contact he wanted, but still forced Chris Kirkland to make a save. Folan headed it down, and it may have been sneaking wide anyway. 2-0 down, and Phil Brown's side now having a bit of a rude awakening in the first 45 minutes. They have an early free kick though. Dawson's delivering. Good one, good header, just over the bar. It was a good ball angled in, and it was Turner's header, and he couldn't quite make a connection. Little shout there from Titus Bramble. Patamol stopped, and as a result, Wigan are backpedaling, and Hull have a great chance here, and that's a magnificent save. It all came from a mistake in the middle. It was laid off to Garcia, and Chris Kirkland got out well and made an excellent save. Wigan chairman Dave Whelan has invested over the summer to build a squad that he thinks is good enough for a top 10 finish this season. Figueroa. Kilban is just off for a moment, receiving some treatment. Looks like Kilban's afternoon could be over. He's heading off down to the dressing room for some treatment. For the moment, Wigan down to 10 men. It may have been an accidental elbow that caught Kevin Kilban there. And here comes Dean Windass for his first taste of the Premier League. Kevin Kilban has a depressed fracture of the cheekbone, so his afternoon, as we already know, is over. And Michael Brown is on in his place. Now, chance perhaps as the ball is pulled back for Amir Zaki. It's the second goal in the Premier League for Amir Zaki. It's 3-0 to Wigan on the afternoon. It's surely their first points of the season. And Hull's dream start in the Premier League is over. The ball was pulled back. It rolled through between 2 Hull City defenders. They couldn't get it away. And Zaki, as he's proved already, doesn't need a second invitation. Steve Bruce isn't smiling. He should be. Steve, you have your first points of the season surely now. Kirkland launches long for Wigan. Brown was backpedaling, he couldn't get a head onto it cleanly. And now Heskey has his first Premier League goal of the season. And Hull's afternoon is going from bad to worse. It was a mistake by Wayne Brown. It skimmed off his head. And Heskey did not need a second invitation. Hull's rugby league team, who share this ground, have lost the Challenge Cup this afternoon. And their football team are being given a rude awakening to the Premier League. Windass looking to lay it off for Fagan. Will it open up? Good covering by Palacios. Fagan did well, combined neatly with Windass here. Marnie will swing in the corner, pulled away at the near post, but Turner couldn't quite direct his header goalwards. Zaki is the target, unchallenged as he flicks on. Valencia is quick, we already know that. Hull need to be alert to the danger. Still, there are plenty of Wigan players here. This is Brown. Now back to Zaki, hits the bar, did it cross the line? The flag's not up, but it's still loose and dangerous. And now the whistle has gone, and the assistant on the far side has now decided that the goal is given. It looked as though it may have crossed the line. Zaki drove it hard across the underside, and it clearly did. It's 5-0 for Wigan. It was a stunning shot. Wigan have a wonderful, wonderful first win of the season. Fagan. Back to Marnie. Looks for the run of Mendy, but that's cut off comfortably by Capo. Not cleared though. Folan. Now here's a chance. Mendy. It's just one of those afternoons for Hull City. They'll have to hope there are not too many of them in the Premier League, because they've barely threatened, and that could be their last chance of what's been a rotten afternoon.
We've had the rub of the green today, which we needed. We needed to get up and running, but it was fairly comprehensive in the end. But it was always going to be a difficult game with Hull and the expectation and the excitement of being in the Premier League. It's always difficult to come to a newly promoted team.
We just spoke about a harsh reality check today was. Wigan have had 5 shots on target today and scored 5 goals. The first goal wasn't a shot, it was a corner, and it's gone directly in. And again, it's that little bit of detail where you're going to get found out if you're not 1,000,000% right. And today we weren't.
Yeah, great performance from Wigan. I mean, 5 goals away from home. But you'd have concerns, wouldn't you, about Hull's future on that form?
Yeah, I mean, first game they beat Fulham at home after going 1-0 down, 1-2-1. And last week they had a good result at Blackburn. But last week really started the jitters for me, because the goal that they conceded is a real worry, and that sort of carried over into today. And you know, it's just one of those simple things that you can easily organise. And Blackburn get the ball just into the Hull's half and just plays. It's a simple ball that comes through, and what happens? They try to play offside, and Roberts is most definitely on, and the guy there in the picture just decides to run up. So straight away you're thinking, uh-oh. So you know, Roberts scores. Hull get a point. But look at this. Ricketts comes off the post. I don't know why he's come off the post anyway in the first place.
The goalkeeper came off as well.
The goalkeeper comes off, and you kind of think, well, how did that happen? Game over.
I think Phil Brown said, didn't he, if you're not right, then there's most certainly aren't. I mean, that's look how far that's travelled without a single player getting a touch for Hull.
And the worst thing now,
it's actually come into the box again. Falls to Zaki, who I've been very impressed with. Finishes it away well, but this time they do get a touch, and it's Wayne Brown, a little flick on. I don't know what he's doing there, just to rub salt in the wound. I think it goes through Michael Turner's legs, and a good finish from Heskey. But they were punished at every opportunity today defensively.
That's the difference. That is, you know, it's the fact you don't get many chances if Hull are attacking, but also defensively, if you're that far off it.
Well, Wigan were off it. He's built a decent side. I know it's only their first win, but they'll do well, won't they?
They were unlucky last week as well, and I think he's done a fabulous job there, and I think he'll continue to carry on as well.
Yeah, good stuff. It's so long since Blackburn won at West Ham that playing that day for Rovers was one Alan Shearer, no less. 14 years on, they would try again. John Motson was at Upton Park.
It was nothing like the hostile reception that had been forecast for Paul Ince when he returns to Upton Park as a manager for the first time. The West Ham fans, who were said not to have forgiven him for wearing that Manchester United shirt nearly 20 years ago, seemed fairly mooted when he came out. He's in good company today because Hammers boss Alan Kirbishley had to endure the dissatisfaction of his supporters during Wednesday's League Cup tie with Macclesfield. Kirbishley could do with a good performance today. He names the same starting 11 for the 3rd match running. His squad is still ravaged by injuries, but Craig Bellamy and George McCartney begin their comebacks on the bench. Dean Ashton has another chance to press his England claims. Ince makes 2 changes from last Saturday, both in midfield. Brett Emerton and his new signing from Torino, Vince Grella, come in for David Dunn, who's injured, and Aaron McQuainer. Chilean forward Carlos Villanueva, who starred in midweek, is on the bench, as is the new signing from MK Dons, Keith Andrews. Now Etherington, Cole coming in with the keeper. And that kick by Paul Robinson, intelligent, looking for Santa Cruz in a 1-against-1 here. Berami had to hurry. Oh, and Santa Cruz has beaten him and he's gone round the goalkeeper. Real chance here for Blackburn. Jason Roberts now. And they didn't take advantage of it. Santa Cruz really getting the better of Berami. Green was temporarily out of position and, well, Jason Roberts couldn't seize the initiative there in the box. Carlton Cole is in the centre. Blackburn funneling back. Here's Cole, marked by Nelson, who gets a foot in. Corner to West Ham. Cole and Ashton are in the 6-yard box. Neil has come forward and so too Davenport and Upson. Oh, and it was Davenport! West Ham take the lead. After 12 minutes, Alan Kirbishley's side off to the kind of start he really needed today. Callum Davenport, it's his first goal for West Ham. From the corner by Faubert, he gets a firm header there. Two defenders with him, but he gets good contact. And West Ham have the first goal. Good climb by Davenport. Well, Paul Ince's side here falling behind to what he won't be pleased about, really, a set-play goal. Davenport beats Santa Cruz in the air. This is Parker. Noble. A run on this side by Faubert. Cole and Ashton making their way into the centre now. Faubert pulls it back. Oh, Ashton's going to... Oh, it's gone in! It's 2-0. And the first touch came from Noble. Did it get a touch from Ashton before it went in, is the question. Oh, I think it touched the defender first. I think it was Noble, then the defender, then it just brushed Dean Ashton, who's clearly claiming it. And it's 2-0 to West Ham. Well, don't forget, West Ham made a good start against Wigan on the opening day. They were 2-0 up and then made hard work of it. They're 2-0 up again today. Oh, and here's Jason Roberts for Blackburn, and they've got one back. West Ham sloppy in defence, and very much the same pattern as against Wigan on the opening day. And Jason Roberts has scored for Blackburn. And Alan Kirbishley will want to know what happened here. And West Ham had possession, and then they lost it. Two defenders left in the wake of Roberts there. He's got great pace, and he moved away from them both and slotted that very calmly indeed wide of Robert Green. BG, it is known here, the Icelandic owner and chairman of West Ham there, determined to keep the finances in order. And that's one in the face, I think, for Stephen Reid. Warnock will cross this. Samba is well forward here for Blackburn. Oh, and that's going to creep in! Or is it? Referee says no, an offside has been given. But Blackburn Rovers thought they'd equalised. Matt Derbyshire, having just come on that moment for Santa Cruz, is in the centre of the picture. Now, as Samba heads this ball, is he level? Well, I think Blackburn may have been hard done by there. Emerton's touch. Promising. There's Jason Roberts for Blackburn. He'll get a free kick, not far out from the 18-yard line. Faubert was the player who made the challenge. It was Reid that struck it. There's a handball there. There's a penalty. Well, Reid took the free kick, and an arm up in the wall. Carlton Cole, the offender. And Roberts will take it. Oh, he saved it, Robert Green. He saved 3 last season, and there's another one. Jason Roberts, foiled by the West Ham goalkeeper. He made a real name for himself last season, Robert Green, saving penalties. And there's another important stop for West Ham. Derbyshire's got Roberts inside, and Andrews, and Emerton! Oh, Green saves. Goodness, Blackburn have come close. Brett Emerton this time. Well, good block, right foot of the goalkeeper. Hasn't taken Paul Ince long to attune himself to the Premiership touchline. Notebook in hand. Tie loosened. Still, Blackburn have hopes of rescuing something from this game. Samba gets up, he's virtually playing centre forward now. He's given away a free kick. Craig Bellamy is onside. Blackburn were caught. This could settle it. Oh, yes, it has. Bellamy is back with a goal, and West Ham have the 3 points in the 3rd minute of stoppage time. It was a ball out of defence that caught Blackburn absolutely cold. He's level with the last defender. That's onside. Waits for the bounce, Bellamy. In fact, waits for 2 bounces and then hits it on the volley. A cracking finish. And West Ham here, having survived some anxious moments, lead by 3 goals to 1. Looks like a defeat then for Paul Ince on old territory. Bellamy again. The only time in the afternoon when West Ham can feel truly comfortable. And Blackburn getting a bit frustrated. Barami's won that back. He's got the cross into Parker. Cole! You wouldn't have believed it was going to be 4-1, but it is. Nervous at 2-1. And then suddenly, 2 goals in the space of 2 minutes. Carlton Cole deserves that for his overall performance. Blackburn don't deserve to be 4-1 down, in fairness. Barami really made that possible with the run down the right, and what a relief for Alan Kirbishley, this result. Really takes the heat off.
We, I think, fair to say, perhaps panicked a little bit. It was a big result for everybody. We know that this week. Not just for me, but I think for the players as well. There's a lot of criticism about. But I can't never criticise what they put in. And they put it in again today, and they defended when they had to. And they worked as hard as they could. And I think we showed, just near the end, what we're capable of, when we get it down and pass it. We're a decent side.
We were hard done by, to be fair. I mean, people look at the result and say 4-1, and it was a bit of a mauling, but, it wasn't. I think, I'm not one for blaming referees, but we've had a legitimate goal that Matt Derbyshire scored, called for offside, which I can't understand now how he works that one out. The penalty miss, which should be scored to go 3-2 up. And then, just some of the decisions that they make kind of cost us in a way.
The ball would have been firmly behind me, and I've just obviously felt the build-up from the press. I think a lot of it's premeditated, a lot of it is out of order in some respects, but what can you do? You just got to get on with it, and I've been saying that if they're targeting me a little bit, then fine, just leave them players alone, because they're the ones that have got to go out there. I'm big enough to take it. It's not a problem to me.
It's great coming back here. This is where it started for me. So, I've got no problems with that. We're just disappointed that it was a great chance for us today to at least pick up some points, and through bad finishing and dodgy decisions, it's kind of cost us.
Yeah, we'll have a look at that decision. But wonderful game of football. Both sides contributed towards that. Just what the doctor ordered for Alan Kirbishley, but it could have been different, couldn't it?
It could most certainly have been different, and Paul Ince undoubtedly has a point about the situation of the game. It was 2-1 to West Ham. Rocky Santa Cruz had just gone off, And this is the disallowed goal, shall we say. Ball gets played in, the knockdown comes in, and there's Derbyshire in the middle of the picture, who is most evidently onside. So that makes it 2 each, would have done, completely different complexion. And then, of course, still get a chance with the penalty, which is a really good save by Green. He saved a lot of penalties lately. And again here, another good save, albeit with his feet, doesn't make any difference from Emerton. And that really was a difference. And in the end, obviously, West Ham ran out easy winners. But it was very, very close, that. And I can't believe the pressure that Alan Kirby has come under.
So what do you make of it? Or the best start they've had for about 9 years. It's early in the season.
I think he's probably paying for the previous board's mistakes. Whether he wanted Anton Ferdinand to go, I think it's a lot of money, £8 million. But whether he wanted to go or not is a different matter. Maybe they have to balance the books like every other, or most other football clubs do, and he's having to pay the price for that, unfortunately.
The only other thing I will say, and they do obviously cite injured players, he's got a few injured players, but you know people like Bellamy and Dyer and Boyer haven't got particularly good injury records. Parker a little bit, and over the last few years they haven't played that many games, so you're always running that risk. But I think the stick he's getting from the supporters definitely not warranted.
No. Before we bring you the rest of the day's action, news in that Tottenham have confirmed the signing of Russian striker Roman Pavlyuchenko. Though he won't play against Chelsea this weekend, he joins the club from Spartak Moscow for a fee in the region of £12 million. And Chelsea Spurs is one of 3 good-looking games this Sunday on Match of the Day 2, BBC 2, 10 o'clock. Before that, some of our Olympic heroes will be in action at Gateshead. We've got live coverage on BBC 2 from 2:15. After a strong start to the season, the last place Newcastle wanted to play was at Arsenal. 3 times they travelled to the Emirates last season, conceding 8 goals without reply. Describing the action, Steve Wilson.
Will Arsene Wenger spend before midnight on Monday? The inscrutable Arsenal manager is saying nothing, but does make 3 changes. Toure, Eboué and Adebayor return. Will Kevin Keegan spend before midnight on Monday? You bet your life he will. Shola Amiobi is the only available partner for Michael Owen after James Milner's sale. Rumours of troubled times on Tyneside. What else is new? Eboué. Jose Enrique got a foot in, but Adebayor has it for Arsenal. Now Fabregas. Clever ball from Fabregas. Van Persie onside. Colaccini made the challenge. It's a corner to Arsenal when plenty in red and white were hoping for more. Did he get any of the ball? Not sure he did. Mike Ashley amongst the masses of visiting supporters at the Emirates. Near post flick, and home at the far. Well, he's already scored a couple of goals this season, William Gallas, and he should have added to them here. It's a really good chance. He's 2 yards out, Gallas, just bounced in front of him, and that's why it's gone way over the bar. Now Kolo Toure strides forward, well hit! Loves doing that, Kolo Toure. Strides on and happy to lash it from distance. And Newcastle United's old faithful Shay Given makes a very good save. Back from watching the European Super Cup, Fabio Capello. Eboué, Danielson. Nasri missed it, Van Persie. Deflection, corner. There is Eduardo. Adebayor, beautifully done away from Shola Amiobi. Oh, penalty given against Nzogbia. Oh, Rob Stiles had a long look at that. Well, Adebayor knocked it in, and Nzogbia has his arm raised and moving in the direction of the ball, hits him on the elbow. It may not be deliberate, but it is a penalty kick. Van Persie for Arsenal, 1-0 to Arsenal. He rattled that home, Robin van Persie. First goal of the season for the Dutchman. Sanya. Oh, good turn by Van Persie, and he's got away from Butt. Still Van Persie. Free kick given. Van Persie. Slightly fortunate to get the free kick. Robin van Persie for Arsenal. Oh! It's a tremendous save by Given. Look how much this moves from Van Persie. Coloccini got a foot in, but no one could benefit for Newcastle, and then it's given away badly by Eboué to Gutierrez, who's got away from Fabregas, and he's running at Clichy. Amiobi in the middle, Michael Owen arriving! You don't get too many clear-cut opportunities when you're playing Arsenal at the Emirates, and this was undoubtedly one. All started because Eboué gave it away badly, and the last thing Michael Owen needed was Amiobi getting in his way. Fabregas nicely done, Van Persie. Adebayor for Arsenal! Another one bites the dust. Great movement. And Van Persie right at the heart of it, and you'd expect Adebayor to score from there. Eboué did well, got away from Jose Enrique. Adebayor might put it back into Eboué, he does, and the back heel finds Van Persie, who finds the back of the net. Good play by Eboué. Had the presence of mind to work out that Van Persie would be behind him. And not a great deal that Shay Given could do once the ball got there. He's done that before, hasn't he? And Zogbia with it. But with a header, oh, and it came off the bar. Just goes to show you should take nothing for granted. Nicky Butt's header comes back off the Arsenal crossbar. Van Persie. Nasri. Adebayor wants it. Nasri might go alone running at Taylor now. Sets up Adebayor. Danielson back into Nasri. Not quite as Arsenal wanted it. Now it's Danielson, and now it's three. Nasri and Adebayor just couldn't quite see to prise Newcastle open. Then that's the pass from Adebayor and the run from Danielson that opened Newcastle up. And Given was motionless. It's Arsenal 3, Newcastle 0. Bassong, Coloccini, Sanya in, his Fabregas. If Arsenal keep picking up loose balls from Newcastle, they'll kill them. It's Adebayor, it's Nasri, Van Persie, well out by Coloccini. Van Persie hit the bar. Whisker away from his first ever Arsenal hat-trick, but this might be it from Van Persie. Got a crack on the ankle. Here's a guy who'd love to score a goal today. Emmanuel Adebayor running away from Gutierrez. Still Adebayor. He jumped into Taylor. Well, he's got a free kick. He is blocked off actually by the Newcastle defender. Nasri for Arsenal. Good save again by Shay Given. Well, they've relied upon Shay Given more than a few times today, Newcastle. Boos from the home supporters are for Joey Barton, who faces an FA hearing on Friday for violent conduct, having attacked Ousmane Darboe when he was a Manchester City player. 74 days in strange ways over the summer, and he can expect that kind of ovation everywhere he goes away from St James's Park. Ward Barton in immediately on Nasri. Well, he won the ball just, which is just as well for him. Not sure it's the greatest piece of judgment on Newcastle's part to include Joey Barton before that hearing has taken place.
He's a last chance saloon. I happen to believe in him. I understand the reaction to everybody. I do not understand the reaction of the player who sliced him down off the ball, and I told him that at the end of the game. But other than that, you know, Joey's just got get his head down and get back to playing football. If people in this country are going to keep saying, well, you know, you don't forgive anybody, you know, he's served his punishment. He's probably got some more to come from the FA, although I hope they're not too hard on him. And then he's got to get his life back on track.
We took critiques on board, and we have only one answer: is the quality of our display on the pitch. That's all you can do.
Did you really take critics on board?
Yes, but we have given a very good response against Twente on Wednesday night, and again today, 3 days later. And overall, it was fantastic afternoon for the club.
Congratulations. I mean, you're 21 years old, but today was your 200th game for Arsenal, which is an incredible achievement, really.
Yeah. It's very good. You know, I'm very happy. I learned nearly everything I know here, and you know, I feel loved. I'm very happy in this club, and you know, I love playing for this team.
Those vast ranks of Newcastle fans will expect you to be busy now over the next 48 hours.
Yeah, we'll spend the next 2 days doing our very, very best to keep bringing some quality players in. But I stress quality players.
Well, it would be crazy to spend, wouldn't it? You don't need to spend.
Well, crazy, I don't know. We try not to be crazy when we spend, and to spend it wisely, and that's what we'll try to do in the next 48 hours if there is an opportunity.
Oh, he spends it wisely. When they're good, they are very, very good, aren't they? Played some sublime football again.
Well, we got a taster of them on Wednesday night, and we watched them against FC Twente. But some of the goals they scored today were top class, but some of them that they didn't score, the build-up to them was just sensational. Newcastle can have no complaints about the result. Could have been 6, could have been 7, if it wasn't for Arsenal's sloppy play in front of goal and good goalkeeping. Toure here, free shot. Very, very good save. But the passing and movement is just sensational. Into Van Persie, into Adebayor. Again, should score. Clichy, left-back position. But we all just love watching them play. Yep. Yes, they're going to have their off days. And yes, at times people are going to say, well, try and pass it to death and try and walk it in the net. But I just love the way they play. Look at the movement off the ball. They're all passing, they're all following it. Back heels, yes, it might be showboats. And I'm screaming at Adebayor here. Shoot. He doesn't. He passes it to Walcott. And again, it should be another goal.
Yeah, I think that's the owner on a bit of a downer, wasn't he, at that stage?
There you go.
Go, look at that.
Oh. He's just realised how much he's got to spend over the next 48 hours.
Exactly. But on a more serious note, yeah. I was surprised at the inclusion of Joey Barton today.
Yeah.
And also,
what do you think that purpose that served? Bringing him on just for a few minutes there to provoke a little bit?
Whether Kevin Keegan thought that it sort of get the fact he hasn't appeared for ages out of the way, but he's got the FA hearing on Friday. I think quite obviously he's going to be in serious trouble. And I do understand about Kevin Keegan saying everybody needs a second chance, but this isn't second chance. This is probably 4th, 5th, or even 6th. And I don't quite think that the people at Newcastle realise how the majority of people in the country feel about what he's done.
Lucky, hasn't he? He's been lucky.
Very, very, very lucky. And it looks like he's going to get another chance.
Looking at your club, they need to spend a few quid over the next couple of days, don't they?
They do. I'd be amazed if Kevin was to let James Milner go for £12 million, a lot of money, if he didn't have a replacement set up. He said, judging by midnight on Monday night, they are looking for players, but I'd be amazed if players weren't in by Monday night. They need them because their squad is already thin. Yeah. To let another one go, as they did 2 days ago, they need players in.
It'd be dangerous. Next, it's Middlesbrough versus Stoke. A Borough win would give them their best start to a Premier League season in 9 years. A win for Stoke will give them their best ever start in the Premier League. Then, as this is their first season, so would a defeat. Martin Fisher was at the Riverside.
Justin Hoyt makes his full Premier League debut for Middlesbrough, with David Wheater moving back into central defence to counter Stoke City's considerable aerial threat. Andy Griffin was in the Stoke side that won on their only previous visit to the Riverside. A promising youngster in August '97, 11 years on, he's wearing the captain's armband. Downing picking out Hoyt cleverly. O'Neill in a good position. 3 attacking the penalty area. Alves with a header. Found space in the penalty area, the Brazilian. And it's a fraction wide of the far post by Afonso Alves. Sonko, had things gone differently, he would have been taking his Stoke City debut today, having signed from Reading yesterday for £2 million. Paperwork wasn't done quickly enough. Wi-Fi slipping, and Middlesbrough might just benefit. Just overstruck the pass from Mohamed Sharkey as he was looking for Tunchai. The greatest of clearances by Sorensen, and Stoke are really struggling here, and it's Alves slipping over. It's still on though, Sharkey! And straight down the throat of Sorensen. Awful defending by Stoke. It's a real comedy of errors. Sorensen's kick was awful. As the clearance fell to Alves, he slipped. And it was left to midfielder Sharkey to find the midriff of Sorensen.
In that space there.
Downing away from Kitson. This is looking for Ali Adier, who can keep it in. Down for O'Neill. Second Middlesbrough player to miskick Holby in the box. That's a shocking challenge by Andy Fye. It's a red card for Andy Fye. It was two-footed, over the top. Mohamed Sharkey is on the receiving end. He's jumping in, let alone sliding in. And that's a nasty challenge on the right ankle of the Egyptian. Look at the referee's positioning. Could not have been much closer to the incident. A free kick in an inviting position. It's Alves. Oh, what a strike! Afonso Alves. Sorensen almost applauds it was so good. And the Brazilian is off and running. And Stoke's afternoon has just fallen apart in the space of a minute. Look at that for technique. Fantastic. So much curl, so much bend. Almost caressed the frame of the goal as it finds the back of the net. Forward by Hoyt. Alves on the chest. Ali Adier looking to get in behind Dickinson, and he has done. Tunchai's in the box, it's a great ball. Tunchai! Court got his body in the way, so important that he did. Excellent play by Ali Adier. Got away from Dickinson. Good defending by Court. O'Neill. Hoyt. Got the space for Alves. Only Tunchai ready to pick out in the middle. Alves for Tunchai! Should have been 2-0. Where was the Stoke City marking? Alves here with a look up. Tunchai found space. Alves found him. Tunchai failed to find the net. Well, Southgate will have said to his team, an early goal in this second half and the game's ours. Alves, good run. Tunchai looking to spin. Now he sets up Downing. Good stop by Sorensen. Diga. Ali Adier. Blocked again by Sorensen, and he's kept his team in it. Lawrence fails to clear. Ali Adier again. O'Neill for Alves. Push in the box, penalty. Fouled by Alaphiliana. Referee right on top of it again. He won't accept the argument of Liam Lawrence. He's punished with a yellow. Alves, Alaphiliana was close. He didn't get the ball. He played the foot of the striker there. Look again how close the referee is. Perfect view. Downing denied brilliantly by Sorensen a few moments ago. Oh, denied by the bar this time. What an awful penalty that one was. Top scorer last season Went for power, finds the woodwork. Giga, well played. Kept in by Ali Adier. Middlesbrough really putting the pressure. It's Tunchai. Oh, deflection took it wide. Ali Adier running against a tired defence. Tunchai felt he got the goal there. Lawrence, nice first touch to give him space. A bad cross in either. Kitson arriving, and he's there! Stoke City equalise! David Kinson's first goal for Stoke City, and look at their reaction. Talk about against the run of play. Stoke City have barely been in the Middlesbrough half all through this second half. Now they have, and now they've scored, and Kitson is the man that's got the goal. Well played, Liam Lawrence. Look at this for a quality ball. Might well have come off Hoyt last, but it's in. And Stoke City, the Premier League new boys, are level. Taylor. Good ball for Alves. Alves for Middlesbrough. Good shot. Great save by Sorensen. What a superb stop that was. That was travelling. It was low and hard. And Sorensen does ever so well to keep it out. Downing looking to redeem himself. Good recovery by Andy Wilkinson. Downing has got it back. O'Neill for Taylor. Look at this space for Downing. Three in the middle waiting for Middlesbrough. Crosses towards Mido. Come out as far as Giga. Didn't get the shot right. Tunchai is onside and scores. And the flag stays down. And Middlesbrough might have won it with 6 minutes to go. Now who's playing him on? Is it Dickinson? Yes, it is. It's a good decision by the assistant far side. He looked level when the ball was played. It's a good finish by Tunchai as Sorensen came to meet him. His first goal of the season. Middlesbrough back in the lead.
You know, having gone down to 10, I thought they were well organised. Made it very difficult for us. Keeper made lots of good saves, and they pinched the goal, which might have got them something from the game. So, you know, we have to hold our hands up and say we weren't at our best, but you know they did a good job. We had our chances, and in the end, we've just had enough to win it.
You know, we're not going to roll over and die. It's you know the group is not like that, and we'll need all that spirit and commitment to see us through. But we've given away, you know, even the second goal. It's a repossession in the final third where you know we're down to 10 men. If there's nothing on, we've just got to stick it around the corner and then start again. But we've got young players, Andy Wilkinson, you know, Dickinson. They're young players, and they've done smashing today.
Yeah, another incident-packed game of football. An excellent start to the season for Middlesbrough. Could conceivably have been even better.
Well, when you consider they should have got something from the game at Anfield last week, but for 2 late goals, one a lucky deflection. I've been very impressed with them. I think the difference now is that they have a bit of craft. They've got goals in them with Ali Adier, Alves, Tunchai, Mido. The average age of their squad's 22, so they're going places. There's a bit of optimism sweeping around Teesside.
Yeah, defeat for Stoke, Mark, but I think looking at them, they've got a bit to offer, haven't they?
Yeah, there's a bit of something about them.
Prior to the sending off, they were right in that game.
They had a go.
A real handful.
They had a go, and I think, you know, obviously 2 of the 3 games have been away from home at Bolton and Middlesbrough today, and they have conceded some sloppy goals, but they've got 1 or 2 scrappers in there. We know they'll be difficult at home, and we know they'll pile the ball in, but I think of the 3 promoted teams, they've got the best chance of survival.
OK. They'll be happy to hear that. Our final game this week is Bolton against West Brom. For the Baggies to win their first game of the season, they'd have to do something they've never previously done, win at the Reebok Stadium. Watching this one for us was Alistair Mann.
It's a first reunion with West Brom for their former manager Gary Megson, whose largely successful 4-year tenure ended with an acrimonious split with chairman Jeremy Peace. He makes 3 changes today with a Premier League debut for defender Danny Shittu. 1 change for West Brom, who include Abdoulaye Meite just a few weeks after he was sold by Megson to his former club. Here's Valero, now Morrison, and Kim wide left. Nice run by Valero, lovely return to Kim. Charged down by Ricardo Gardner and Greta Steinson between them. Here's Morrison, opens up for the curler. Great save by Jääskeläinen. It opened up for that little bending shot into the far corner. And Morrison executed it pretty well, and Jääskeläinen was up to the challenge. Nice combination down this left-hand side. Brilliantly done, brilliantly worked, and Valero with a chance, and it deserved better. It's a terrific move from West Brom, it really was. Just look at the number of passes, look at the movement, look at the understanding as well, and suddenly a touch into the path of Valero. That would have pleased Tony Mowbray. The finish, just a pity it didn't match all the approach work. Samuel towards Davis, who won it. Nolan's looking, well, there was an arm on his shirt. No question about it. And the ball went into the area. Kevin Nolan's shirt was being pulled. Not sure the referee nor his assistant saw that. It looked as though Nolan was having his shirt pulled. Well, it most definitely is. No wonder Nolan was cursing the decision not to award a penalty. Davis, Nolan, Riga. What's he given? Is it a penalty just inside or a free kick on the edge? He's asking the referee, the assistant, he's given it on the edge. Let's have a look. It was only just Robinson's challenge, and Robinson's claiming he got the ball anyway. That's where the first contact was. It's a borderline decision. Could have gone either way. Actually, could have been nothing at all. Robinson believes he won the ball. Got a yellow card for his troubles. Riga! Great save by Carson. Excellent goalkeeping. Good save. McDonald. Good turn. Can he find someone in yellow? He does eventually. Check, and now Kim hits one! Underside of the bar, Ishmael Miller. Brilliant save by Jääskeläinen. And it's thumped away by Andy O'Brien. Well, well, well. West Brom can't believe their luck. Kim hit this brilliantly. Jääskeläinen was beaten. It was the underside of the bar. They looked to the assistant who said it hadn't crossed. Underside of the bar. And, well, I think it's on the line. Difficult to tell, but if you were favouring anything, it's no goal. And then Jääskeläinen was up quickly to deny Miller. And here come Bolton at the other end. Nolan on, claims of handball. What's he given here? Is it a free kick on the edge? It is. Well, Nolan is certain that was in the area, and I must admit, I felt it was too on first viewing. This will tell us. Wow. I'm not sure it hit his arm, but I think it was in the area, whatever it hit. I think he's just inside the area, but it didn't hit his arm. Anyway, it's a free kick on the edge, the verdict. Goes the same way, but this time, no save required. Well, Bolton are absolutely convinced that if that was handball, it was inside the area and it should have been a penalty. As it was a free kick and Riga put it wide. McCann, Nolan, Carson's up to save, the flag's gone up, Davis put it in, it won't count. And both these sides are going to be cursed today, it would appear. But the flag was up against Davis on the rebound. If this had gone in, I suspect it might have counted, but once Davis hit it, he was offside. Davis was pushed by Zyvalon, free kick to Bolton. Wafted towards Shitu, and Davis is offside. Second time in a matter of minutes. He has the ball in the net, but he sees the flag has been raised. Let's have a look. Yep, he was. Good spot. He can't believe it. It's going to end 0-0, you know.
We probably had the best chance with hitting the underside of the bar, and then the follow-up should have really been dispatched. But That's football, you know. We'll go away, we'll check that point. You know, 3 games in for us now. I feel as if we've applied ourselves very well in all the games against, you know, hugely different types of challenges.
There could have been goals and that could quite easily have been 3-3, 3-2, whatever it may be. But in terms of a 0-0, it certainly wasn't drab, and there's a lot of talking points for you, I'm sure.
And we're looking forward to 1 or 2 additions just to help the squad. At the moment, I think he's doing exceptionally well and competing in the next level up for us, and you know, I think we'll be fine.
I think we'll have one. We're very close to getting that one done.
The Polish player.
Yeah, Smolarek. So hopefully that one goes through without any hitch. And the fact that you've told everybody, but
well, we saw him in the stand, which is always a giveaway.
We're clever like that. Well, it wasn't him. There's another one in the other stand.
There's a look-alike. Well, believe it or not, that was the first 0-0 in the Premier League this season. I'm not quite sure how, but a vital point for West Brom.
They're up and running. Big problem for me for West Brom is this season, are they going to score enough goals? The evidence we've seen so far, probably not. They might struggle, but they're up and running, and we'll see how they go.
A busy game for the officials there. They had a few testing decisions to make. Got most of them right. What about the one, was it over the line? I think we saw 3 of these off the bar onto the line once today.
Well, what we can say is what a fantastic strike from Kim with his left foot. And in our travelling, the pace behind that comes down. As you said, it's a tough decision, but
it's all got to be over the line.
The whole ball has got to be off the line. But what a miss this is from Ishmael Miller. We've seen Peter Crouch stick one in earlier in the show. He should have done the same. From this angle, it might just look as if it's over, but I think the whole ball has to be over. Laura?
Well, the second angle it looks over, but there's a little bit of doubt certainly. So.
Well. 0-0. Before we leave you, let's take a look at the Barclays Premier League table. 3 of the big 4 already lording it over the rest. Chelsea and Liverpool even have the luxury of a game in hand. They'll attempt to extend their perfect start to the season against Tottenham and Villa respectively. West Ham and Middlesbrough have made their best starts this millennium. Being bottom without a point is not what Spurs will have envisaged after some lavish spending this summer. Portsmouth are off the mark at Everton's expense, and West Brom are up and running with their first point of the season. So Chelsea, Arsenal and Liverpool lead the way with the champions nowhere in sight. Do you think it's too early to rule them out? Goodbye.